The very first words from the Obama White House: suspend all military tribunals at Guantanamo Bay for at least 120 days. There are still some 250 detainees there, the remnants of a population that once numbered more than 700. Human rights advocates have long complained about those people being held without being charged with anything. A number of lawyers from the U.S. have been donating their time to try to get hearings for some detainees. One of them is Nancy Hollander in Albuquerque. She joins us on the line. This announcement by the Obama administration to suspend the tribunals, what's your reaction to that?
Well, we've been waiting for this, and there have been a lot of rumors about it. I still have not heard or seen an order regarding my client, one of my clients, but anything that stops these tribunals, and I hope means that they don't ever start again, is positive.
Now, there's about 250 detainees at Guantanamo. Of course, tens of thousands in Iraq and Afghanistan, which are not part of this picture. But concerning Guantanamo, what would be your thought thinking about Guantanamo? Close it and send people home? How could that possibly be handled?
Well, there are a number of people who could be sent home or sent to other countries or could be released in this country who the government has admitted are not even enemy combatants under their broad view of that word. Then there are those who have been charged in the military commissioned and who can be tried, in my view, in the criminal justice system or in a legitimate military court where the Uniform Code of Military Justice applies and they get all of the rights that they're entitled to. I think they either have to try them or they have to release them. And I don't buy the argument that there are people who we don't have evidence on, but because we tortured them, but we believe that they're guilty of something. If these people really are guilty of something, I believe the government should be able to find legitimate evidence. And if they can't, it probably means that they're not guilty. Over 500 people have been released over the years.
Secretly, without much attention.
Without much attention, because former President Bush said, they're the worst of the worst, and of course that was wrong.
Now, your clients, you've been seeking to have a hearing. No word on that?
Well, I have two clients in two very different situations. One of my clients has an arraignment scheduled for February 9th, and we're waiting to see what the order is in that case. We don't have an order yet. We anticipate that arraignment will be put off for 120 days, but we have some other things pending in that case, but we haven't heard yet. That particular client, the government, is Mr. al-Nashiri. The government has admitted to waterboarding him, admitted he was in the secret prisons for many years. My other client, Mr. Salahi, has been in Guantanamo since 2002 and has never been charged with a crime.
What was his circumstance? How was he arrested?
He was captured. I wouldn't call it an arrest. He actually turned himself in. He's from Mauritania, a country in Africa, and he was requested by the Mauritanian police to come to the police station in late 2001. He went to the police station, and the Americans took him illegally to Jordan. We have proof of this, and he was in Jordan for 8 months, and then an American plane took him to Bagram Air Force Base and then to Cuba. Rumsfeld personally signed the orders for his interrogation plan, which included torture, and he was tortured in Guantanamo. A prosecutor was assigned to his case and then refused to prosecute it, Lieutenant Colonel Couch, because he'd been tortured and that there was no untortured evidence, and he just sits there.
And your requests for helping him have simply been met with deaf ears?
Well, we have had no access to the courts until recently, and now in his case, we filed a petition for habeas corpus years ago, but it's only since the Supreme Court ruled that those can proceed, and that happened last fall, that we've been able to move forward, and we're in the discovery process and hoping to have a hearing on that case soon.
So the next 120 days may wrap up things for you completely.
Well, it won't have any, we don't think it is going to have an effect on the habeas cases, but we don't know. It won't wrap up the case for al-Nashiri. It will simply move him to another court, I believe, so it won't wrap up my representation of him. My representation of Salahi is completely pro bono. My firm pays all the expenses. Al-Nashiri, we're part of the John Adams Project, which is an ACLU project, and I'm committed to that case, whatever court it ends up in. And I believe it will either be in a federal court or a military court, or there'll be some new form of military commission, and we really don't know.
We'll wait to find out. Nancy Hollander, thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.